Hey guys, my name is Allison. Today I'm just going to do a Q&A about my exchange. A lot of people have messaged me with questions about certain things involving my exchange. So I'm going to answer them for you today. So I asked you guys on Instagram to ask me questions. So I have all the pictures up here. So I will be looking at this throughout the video. So I'm just going to start with a little introduction about myself in case you guys didn't know. Because I originally started this channel just for like my family and friends at home, but a lot more people started watching it. So I feel like I should formally just like give you guys some facts about me. So my name is Allison, obviously. I am 16 years old. I am from the US, specifically Arizona, and I am doing a year-long study abroad in Norway. Well, almost a year. It's about 10.5 months. I left home in like the middle of August, and then I go back home at the very end of June. So about 10.5 months. So a question I got asked probably the most is why Norway? And I don't have a specific answer for this, but the best I can give you is when I was younger, I went to these language camps called Concordia Language Villages. If you don't know what that is, it's in Minnesota, and it's basically just like camps that you stay at for a few weeks as a kid and you learn languages. So I basically lived at the Spanish camp because my mom worked there. So since I was 2 years old, I went to the Spanish one, and right next door was Norwegian. So since I was very little, my mom signed me and my sister up to day camp at the Norwegian camp, and we really liked it. So we kept going back, and then we became campers. So we spent a lot of summers both at the Spanish and Norwegian camp. And that I always knew from a very young age that I wanted to study abroad. Going to the Norwegian camp, I was kind of like, I want to go to Norway. So I'm here now. That's kind of the reasoning behind that. Another question is, did I learn Norwegian before coming? And if so, how? So yes, I learned a little bit of Norwegian before coming. That camp, it's called Skufjorden, in case you didn't know. It taught me the basics. So it actually was very helpful because I knew that stuff before coming here. I felt a little prepared, at least, coming into it. So that's how I learned the language. I also did a lot of studying before I came. The whole summer, I would go and I would just sit at Starbucks and watch videos on how to learn Norwegian, and I would just take notes. So I did learn a little bit from that too. Yeah, I'd say I knew the basics before coming here, so that was pretty helpful, but I've definitely learned a lot more since being here. Was Norway your first choice for the exchange? And yes, it was. I don't even remember really what I put for my other choices. I think I put like Portugal and maybe Italy. They're all very different places, but yeah, I got my first choice. I didn't really stress about that. I think AFS is pretty good at getting you your first choice, so yeah. Do you have host siblings? Yes, I do. So I don't show my host family that much because I don't want to like force them to be in the videos. If they want to be, I'll gladly put them in, but I don't want to be like, hey, like I need you to talk for my YouTube video. Like I don't want to do that. So I respect them and their privacy. This is a picture of my host family in case you wanted to see. I have a 16-year-old sister, and then I have 2 older brothers that don't live at home. So I don't see them as much, but I see them quite a bit. But everyone, my host family is very, very nice. I got very lucky. I know a lot of kids do end up changing host families in their exchange year, and that's actually very common. So don't be upset if you have to do that. If you guys don't fit together, don't be afraid to switch families. But I got very lucky with mine. Someone asked, which is better, Norway or USA? I cannot compare those at all. USA is like home, and Norway is also like another home, but they're not comparable. I'd say Arizona and Norway are like the most opposite places. At least my town in Norway compared to my town in the US is everything's different. So I can't really compare those. I love them both. Yeah. So someone said, why Norway? I feel like Americans don't even know where Norway is. And that is sad but true. A lot of my friends, when I first told them like, oh yeah, I'm going to Norway, they were like, where is that? Is that in the North Pole or the South Pole? And I was like, okay. A lot of people also didn't know what language they spoke in Norway. So I don't know if I just had more knowledge because of Skufjord. Not a lot of people did know much about Norway. So maybe this can help you Americans who are watching learn a little bit about Norway. You can follow my videos, learn some more than you knew before. How did I get the idea to do the trip? I've always known that I want to do this from a young age because my mom did an exchange year in high school as well. She was a sophomore, so she was a year younger than me, and she went a year to Peru. And then my sister did it when she was a junior in high school. She's 18 now. So 2 years ago, my sister went a semester to Argentina. We're basically family with the students that my grandparents hosted. They're basically like family to us. So we're very involved with like AFS and exchange. So it's always been something I knew I wanted to do. What do I miss most about Arizona? And that's a hard one, because there are a lot of things, just like little things I didn't realize I would miss. I'd say the biggest, or one of the biggest things that I miss is driving. I just put on the music and just drive, and I love it. And I like having the freedom to drive wherever you want to go, whenever you want. You don't have to ask someone for a ride. That's something you have to do here. You have to find a ride from someone or like take the bus or something. And that's one thing I really do miss, because I'm not allowed to drive here. It's one of AFS's rules. In case you didn't know, you are not allowed to drive. So I'm following the rules. Another thing that I didn't really think of was the sun. It's rare to even get a cloudy day in Arizona. So I didn't realize how much I loved it, but I really do. We don't have that many sunny days here. The two things I think I miss most are like the heat from the sun and driving. When is the best time to apply to AFS if you're wanting to go on an exchange year? So last year, I believe I applied around September, and that was pretty early, I remember. They said I was like one of the first people to get started on everything. So yeah, I applied early in the year, but you can apply anytime now. I would say if you're wanting to go sometime next year, I would say start now, start applying, because you don't want to wait too late. Otherwise, you'll be further down on the list and you might not get everything that you want. For me, at least, they did like an at-home interview. They like talk to you, ask like what you would want in a host family, what you want from the experience, stuff like that. So they try to find the best pairing for you. So if you're one of the last people to do it, then they won't have as many options for you. How is it making friends, and how is it with friends in Norway? Okay, so I didn't really know what to expect when coming. The only thing is, which I didn't really expect, but I've learned a lot more about now, is the Scandinavian countries. I have a few friends staying in like other Scandinavian countries, and everyone is saying everyone is very reserved here, and people think it's strange if you go up and just like talk to a stranger here. It's kind of like you're invading their space. Like, you don't really do that. Also, sitting on a bus, if there is an open seat for you to sit alone, you sit alone. You do not sit next to someone, otherwise they think you're a creep. Everyone here, or that's a stereotype, everyone. A lot of people here just tend to be more reserved. That's just, I guess, how the culture is. Me, on the first day of school, I had no idea. I didn't know what Norwegians were like. So I was like, okay, let's just try our best here. So I remember everyone was very, very shy. Everyone still is shy. If I don't know them, they will not go up and talk to you. And another thing is, it's kind of weird to go up and just talk to someone if you don't know them and if you don't have a reason to talk to them. So that's definitely different than the US, I'd say, because it's a lot more normal to just kind of like have a conversation with a stranger. But here, it's kind of weird. So on the first day of school, I was like, okay, I don't know what to do. There were a few very nice people that kind of talked to me. A lot of people were just kind of looking at me like, oh, that's the girl from the US. A lot of people were very shy. And another thing is, they all like added me on Snapchat and stuff, but a lot of them, like, they would talk to me on Snapchat, but then would not say a word to me in person because they're shy. So I guess that's just how it works here. But I got very, very lucky with my friend. So basically how it works is you have a class and you basically go to all your different classes with these same kids. So you're pretty much with the same kids all day, every day. So I made a group of friends in my class and I got very lucky. They're all very, very nice. And I've met a lot of other nice people, but I got really lucky with my like good friends in my class, because you see them every day, so you become friends with them over time. But it was a little scary at the beginning. That's just one thing I noticed. A lot of people here are a lot more reserved than I am used to. Is school harder there than in the USA? No. So, okay, for me personally, yes, because it's all in Norwegian. But the content is a few years behind from what I have learned in the US. The only reason I think it's hard is because it's all in Norwegian, so that's the part I'm struggling with, but the actual content is all stuff that I've learned before. Yeah, it's more advanced, I'd say, in the US, which is not something I was expecting. I actually thought the Norwegian like school system would be more advanced than ours. Did going to camp every summer help you to transition better to life in Norway? That's from one of my Skufjorden friends. And yes, it really did, because I learned the culture really from camp, and I learned the basics, which was very helpful coming into it. Tips for learning a new language. Okay, so if you're going on exchange and you're trying to learn a new language, I'm still learning the language right now. I've almost been here for 3 months. I feel like I've come a really long way from where I started, at least. I noticed myself, I'd say about a month ago, I started understanding almost everything everyone says without even thinking about it. I noticed myself one day, I was like, wait a minute, like I understand this and I'm not even like thinking about it. And I thought that was crazy, that just kind of just clicked. And I've been starting to speak more, but I'm still struggling with that because my friends, they tend to speak English with me, just because one thing that's hard for me specifically is because I am American. Everyone's like, okay, it's just easier to speak English with the American. Kids specifically speak English to me, which is not really what we want because I need to be learning Norwegian. But it's kind of easier with communications with teenagers, at least, if you're trying to have a conversation and I'm like, wait, what does that mean? They're like, they just start speaking English, which I understand because it's easier. But you really have to put the effort forward. You really have to speak as much as you can, even if it's wrong. That's one tip. Don't be embarrassed to get something wrong. I say stuff wrong all the time, but people just correct it for me, and people don't like not laugh at you because they know you're learning the language, obviously. So just say whatever you think it is. Don't really think about it, and then see if people tell you if it's right or wrong. Learn how to correct it, and then you learn a new thing. I learn the best from saying stuff wrong, because then I remember the right way to say it, because I remember, I'm like, oh yeah, they told me it's this instead. So making mistakes is the most helpful way to learn the language. So just speak and learn from your mistakes. Don't be afraid to embarrass yourself. When did you get your host family? When did AFS tell you about your host family? Okay, I got mine the middle, I'd say. I think the middle of March. It kind of depends also. This is why you should apply earlier in the year, because then you should get your host family earlier than other people who wait to apply later. For Norway specifically, I remember there were a lot of kids that did not get host families, so apply as early as you can. Okay, someone said, do you miss your family and how much do you have contact with your family? So yes, I really do miss my family, but it's not something that I like to think about a lot, but I have contact with them often. I call them once a week. Me and my mom, we decided I could only call her once a week, and I call her every Sunday. And that's good because it's like something to look forward to. And I also text my family throughout the week just so that we keep contact. One thing that I really, really love that my mom does is she sends me a letter every week, typically on Thursdays. That's a good thing to look forward to throughout the week, because I get a letter from her on Thursday and then I can call her on Sunday. And then I message her a few times throughout the week just to like see how both of us are doing. Do you have to repeat the year that you missed? So I said this earlier, but no, I will not have to repeat my junior year, because what I did to get ahead was I took a lot of online classes freshman and sophomore year, and then I also took a 0-hour sophomore year, so I could just get ahead. Pretty much my junior year is already done. I already technically did it. My grades here don't really matter, which is a very comforting feeling, because if they did, I would be stressed because I don't know what's going on in a lot of my classes. How did I adjust to such a different climate? And I got another question, which is how am I dealing with the cold? I'm not. If I'm being honest, I think it's way too cold. Literally, just to give you an idea, right now it is negative 14 degrees Celsius. For the Americans that don't know Celsius, that is about, I want to say 8 degrees Fahrenheit. Really freaking cold. That's all I have to say. Today I'm wearing 2 pairs of pants. I have my long socks and I have thermals underneath my jeans because I am cold. It's almost painful walking to and from the bus stop. It's almost painful how cold it is. The ways I deal with that is I wear thermals and I wear my big old winter jacket all day, every day. What's your favorite thing about life in Norway? There is a lot to that. I think my absolute favorite thing is the nature. Everything here is so beautiful, especially with the snow. I love it because I'm not used to seeing water and mountains and snow and pine trees and stuff like that. I'm not used to any of that. So I think it's all so beautiful and it just like puts me in a good mood every time I look out the window. So that's probably my favorite thing about living here. Are you learning nynorsk or bokmål? I don't even know if I said that right, but I am learning, I don't even know. So I'm learning how to write bokmål. From the beginning, my family, they were like, you should learn bokmål, how to speak it first before you learn the dialect because that's just easier. But so I kind of started with learning bokmål. Also, another thing I want to say is I think a week after getting here, I had my family speak all Norwegian to me, like no English. I think that's the best way to do it, to kind of just jump right into it and you catch along fast. After a little while, I understood everything they were saying to me. So that's another thing you should ask your host family to do if you're going on exchange. Ask them to just speak the language. And if you don't understand, they can clarify. But that just helps you learn it a whole lot quicker. Just kind of force yourself into only hearing that. But they were speaking bokmål to me for a while. Now I think they're moving into dialect, but all my friends speak the dialect with me. So in case you didn't know, there are so many dialects in Norway. I want to say there's 30 something, which can be very confusing because they say a lot of different things. The dialect where I live is like the northern dialect. So there's one for where I am. There's a different Tromsø dialect. Bergen has a way different dialect. Oslo, their dialect is way different from ours. It's every different city, there's a different way they speak. So it can get confusing, but in general, they can understand each other. But for example, jeg skal do whatever is like I'm going to whatever. Here they say jeg skal. So it's just different. And then like jeg er, it would be like jeg er. But I've gotten used to it. I can understand most of what people say with dialect. Are you excited about next camp? This was one of my AFS friends. I am so excited about the next AFS camp. I seriously have made the best friends through AFS. The students that I've met already during this year, I just love them all. They're all great. The best part is you're all so similar. You all have like the same goals. You're all just so similar because you're doing the same thing. Yeah, I love my AFS friends. So yeah, I'm excited about next camp. How did I get my YouTube going? I don't know. I just started making videos. Like I said, it was originally just to show my family and friends at home like what I was up to, but I guess if I can be helpful for people who want to do exchange or anything like that, who are just wondering how life here is like, I think that's really cool that I can do that. A lot of my international friends, a lot of people here have told me they want me to keep this going like through next year so I can show you guys like what American life is like, and I feel like that would be a cool thing to do. So if you guys want that, let me know. I might continue these videos when I get home. Why did I want to go for 1 year and not 6 months or 3 months? So like I said, I have a lot of family members who have done exchange, and my family has been involved with AFS for a long time. So I know a lot of people who have done exchange, and everyone who I've talked to says that they are glad they went for a full year, or if they didn't go for a full year, they wished they went for a full year. My sister, for example, she went to Argentina for a semester, and she called my parents in like October or November or something, and she was like, can I stay for the whole year? And she was not able to because she had to come home and do school. But I'm very glad I decided to do it, because now, thinking about it, I'm like, if I were doing a semester, I would almost be done. So that would be way too soon, because I feel like in a few months, I'll be completely adjusted. I'll be able to say whatever I want to say. I'll have like a full life here. So I feel like leaving in a few months would not, I just wouldn't like that. So I'm glad I did this for a year. Stina asked, when am I coming to visit you? And then somebody else asked, are you going to Uslu anytime soon? And yes, we are planning on doing a weekend to Uslu in December, and I am so excited. I'm so excited to see like Uslu in Christmas time. So I'm excited to see that and see you. What's the biggest difference of your lifestyle in Norway versus home? That's a good one. I would say I'm a lot less high maintenance here. I hate to say it, but at home, I was very high maintenance. What that means is like very focused on things that were just unnecessary. Like I would be like, oh, I need to get my eyebrows done because I need to get my nails done every month. I need to do this, this, and this. I care a lot less, I'd say, about what people think of me. Not in like a bad way. Like I still care about like putting out like a good image of myself, but people are going to think I'm weird. I'm an exchange student. So they're going to think some things about me are weird, and I used to let those things bother me. But since coming here, I don't care what people think of me. If they think I'm weird, then they think I'm weird. A lot, literally, apparently like the whole school knows about this channel that I have, but I'm kind of just like, I'm doing my own thing. I'm having a good time. I don't know if that answers your question very well, but I'm less high maintenance, I guess you could call. Yeah, I don't know. I don't put as much effort into caring about what people think of me, if that makes any sense. What do you think is better in Norway than back home? Okay, that's a good one. Okay, one thing that they do here is they care a lot about like the happiness of their people, I guess you could say. So for like schools, at least, I was talking to like students at the school, and they like give students money for resources that they need at school. For example, everyone needs a computer at school. They use computers all the time. So you need to bring your own laptop every day. So they give you money to buy this laptop. And then you get more money depending on like your financial situation at home. Same thing with like jobs. You're required to take a certain number of days off. My host dad, he owns a company, and he was telling me how when his coworkers go on vacation, he's still required to pay them so that they're able to pay for the vacation, because in order for them to work well, they need to be happy. They need to get time off. They need to be well rested. Maternity leave is way different than it is like for teachers in the US. Stuff like that, it's just so different. I really like how they really care about like the well-being of like the people of Norway. It's just a way different like society than it is in the US, and they're unique in their own way. How did you convince your parents to let you go on exchange? And it's another one of those things. My mom did it, so she couldn't really say like no. Okay, so here's the thing. So it's obviously tough to like let your children go on exchange. I'm trying to talk from like my mom's point of view. It's so worth it because we get like these global views kind of out of it, because I feel like already I've grown so much like as a person. It's definitely helped me grow so much already, and I think by the end of the year I'll be like a whole new person. But it's just already taught me so many lessons, and every day I feel like I'm learning something new about myself or like about the world, and it's just a really cool thing. Just tell your parents, like you can learn so much out of it. A lot of people are asking how to convince parents to do it. So talk about how much of an impact it can really have on you. How did you adjust to school in a foreign language? I'm still kind of adjusting to that, but I have noticed myself, I do understand quite a bit, but some things like in science, all these like special fancy words in Norwegian, I don't know what they mean. So you kind of just have to learn to be confused, fake it till you make it, take any notes that you can. Use Google Translate, honestly, as your biggest resource, because I'm able to like look at a sentence, and then if I'm like, I don't know that word, I just Google Translate it, and I try to ask people. Don't be afraid also to ask so many questions. People will help you. they won't think you're annoying. And if they think you're annoying, then don't be friends with them. It's good to ask questions. Where specifically in Norway am I living? I'm living in Finnsnes, that's the town. It's very, very, very north of Norway. So it's about an hour and 15-minute boat ride from Tromsø. It's right near Tromsø, which is like the nearest big city. How are your language skills coming along? I know it's hard at first, but it gets easier. Yeah, I can tell it will get easier in a few months. But I feel like I'm doing pretty well, but I do want to start speaking more. I definitely just need to push myself more to just try to use as much Norwegian as I possibly can. Is Norway like you expected, or has anything surprised you? I didn't know what to expect. One thing is I saw all these like postcard pictures of Norway and I was like, that looks beautiful, but how in the world is that real? In northern Norway, where I am, that stuff is real. Like those pictures, you just look out the window and you see that, and it's insane to me. I didn't actually expect it to be this beautiful. I knew it was pretty, like from all the pictures that I saw, but just like looking out the window. What food were you surprised to find out was typical there? Tacos, for sure. Tacos are so common here, and I think that's crazy. It's typically Taco Friday. That's like what everyone does, but some people just have it like random nights in the week. But every week you have tacos. I was expecting just fish and potato, but tacos also is part of their main diet. How is your year going so far? I'm going to end it off with that one. So I think this year is going great. There are ups and downs, as you would expect with an exchange year. My year is going really well. I am really happy with the people I've met, the place where I'm placed in Norway. I'm really happy, and I feel like I'm learning already so much about myself and about the world. And I'm excited just for the rest of what this year has in store for me. I hope this was at least somewhat helpful for anyone who was just wondering anything about Norway, or anyone who's planning on being an exchange student. I hope this was helpful information for you. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you guys so much for watching.